Hi, I'm Dylan with Ocean City Detailing, and today we're going to be showing you what a maximum level detail looks like. This particular detail isn't so much a cleaning as it is a full restoration. So let's see what we're working with. As you can see, we have our work cut out for us. Between the heavy stains, mold, and uninvited guests in the form of roaches, this car is in trouble. Once we saw the roaches, we knew we had to exterminate them before we even touched the interior, but rather than lose a day of work to that, we decided to knock out some of the exterior work. The first step of any exterior for us is the wheels. To clean them, we are using a non-acid wheel cleaner and a variety of brushes to break loose any grime and contaminants that are on the surface. As you can see, there is still quite a bit of brake dust residue left over, so we followed up with an iron decontamination to try and break up the rest of the rust. Moving on to the engine bay, we are using an all-purpose cleaner with a heavy dilution in addition to a variety of brushes to break up the grime, then following up with a pressure washer, and after with a water-based dressing. A combination of a leaf blower and microfibers to finish the shine, then on to the pre-rinse. The pre-rinse is going to be especially important on this car, as it is absolutely covered in pollen, dirt, grime, sand, and basically everything else, and we definitely want to minimize the damage to our wash mitts, as well as remove dirt from some of the tighter seams and cracks on the unit. For soap, we have a neutral wash concentrate with an iron fallout and water spot removal. We're going to spray that on, let it dwell, then wash it down. After giving the door jambs a good spray down, it's on to the clay bar. As we clay the car, it was very clear that the paint had never received any decontamination, and the result of that can be seen very easily in the next clip. Now that the clay bar is finished, it's time to use an iron remover on the entire car to try and tackle any deep-seated metal contaminants and assist in further clearing the paint. Time for the headlights. As you can see, these are extremely hazy and look terrible, so what we're going to do is wet sand grits 1500 through 3000, then buff and polish, after which we will apply a ceramic coating to increase the life of the restoration. A quick progress check for day 1, then it's on to the real challenge, the interior. As we investigate the vehicle post-extermination, you see exactly what kind of mess we got ourselves into. This interior was absolutely demolished. There was simply no option. The interior had to come out. First, we pull the seats, then the trim, which will really let us get a good look at the whole floor. As removing the interior exposed yet more garbage, that has to come out before the vacuuming begins. Now that the carpet is out, this is honestly a situation where replacement is the only real fix, but we wanted to put our skills to the test and see what we can do with this one. Before pressure washing, we gave the entire carpet a nice misting of all-purpose cleaner to help break up some of the mass amounts of staining and debris in this carpet. As we get to this center section, you can see that the carpet was so saturated with dirt that it had actually solidified, and you can see it rejecting the water completely in some areas as we try to free up the fibers. Our next step is using a foaming stain remover and deodorizer. We opted for a foaming cleaner to try and minimize adding any more moisture to the carpet we have already soaked. Through the course of this detail, we actually went on to steam this carpet, extract it again, and do various spot treatments after letting it dry. Today, however, we are using the drying time to attack the floor pan of the vehicle now that the carpet has been separated. Much like the carpet, our first step here is going to be a good vacuum to remove as much of the surface debris as possible before we fine-tune it. Now that the vacuuming is done, we can come back in with brushes and a rinseless wash to fully clean the rest of the floors. Finally, onto the trim. I chose to start here with this mysterious staining to see how difficult the grime was going to be on the rest of the vehicle. As you can see, it was fairly difficult to remove, so we decided to move on to other pieces until we were ready to start the steam cleaning. As we get to the center console pieces, you'll see why cleaning the panels separately can be very helpful, as keeping the nastiness from these panels from sliding down to the carpet would have been quite the challenge. With the majority of the trim taken care of, it's on to the steamer. This tool is invaluable for cutting through stubborn grime, but caution is always key, as steam has the potential to bleach plastic with too much exposure. Moving on to the upholstery steaming, it's important to keep in mind that you want to use a neutral color rag. White is best, but the key is to avoid any color that could potentially dye into the fabric. We are almost done with the final stages of extraction on the seats, which means we get to the moment you've all been waiting for, the extractor dumps. With all that nastiness out of the way, it's time to finish our tour with the steamer, first on the headliner, then through all the vent ducts. With hours of cleaning behind us and a lot of fallen microfibers, there's only one thing left to do with the inside, and that's give it a nice dressing with UV protectant to try and revive some of these poor, abused plastics. With the interior finally done, we're back to the exterior, starting with an undercarriage wash. As we give the vehicle one final wash, we're taking care to remove dirt from every nook and cranny so that dirt doesn't get dragged across the car during paint correction. Once the vehicle is dry, we can take a look at the paint and see exactly what we're working with. To be quite honest, upon inspection, this is probably one of the worst paint jobs we have ever seen. Just layers and layers of scratches, spray paint fixes, gouges, and dents. So we're going to do what any good detailer would, and run some test spots. For this test run, we both ran microfiber cutting pads on the Rupes with speed 5. I am using Meguiar's Ultra Cut Compound, while AJ is testing out a polish from our chemical distributor called Micro 1. This first heavy cut should clear up the oxidation, as well as give us a good idea of how deep the layers of scratches go, and which ones are going to need some sanding. As you can see, both compounds did a good job at clearing up the paint, but as you can also see, we are still left with an absolute mess of scratches, which means it's time for the sandpaper. This is the bread and butter of correcting paint, where we're fixing the unfixable and scaring everybody by taking sheets of sandpaper to the car. Here we have a little progress checker on the sanding process. You can see we have evened out a lot of the damaged surface and it is almost ready to be finished out. As we get into the rest of the car, I do want to add a word of caution. Wet sanding can be very dangerous to the paint if done incorrectly, and this is an advanced level of paint correction. If not done correctly, there is definite risk of etching the paint permanently, or at the very least causing yourself a major headache. Moving on to the passenger quarter panel, you can see we have some pretty aggressive scratches, and most of them are really deep. When you come across something like this, the goal is going to be for improvement. It's not going to be perfect. Your best hope when dealing with serious defects like this one is to minimize the white and help blend the edges back to the rest of the panel. As AJ finishes cleaning up my mess on the quarter panel, that completes the passenger side, and now we can focus on the rest of the car. Things are not much better over on the driver's side. The paint is completely hammered. I'm running out of adjectives to use here, so I'll let the video talk. With a rear bumper that was primarily spray paint and a hatch with softball-sized dents and a missing badge, we didn't go too crazy back here. Just some minor wet sanding and a good cut and polish. Before we apply ceramic coating to this car, we do a crucial step, an alcohol wipe down. This gives the coating a perfectly clean surface to bond to. Ceramic coating is where it comes in very handy to have two people. Due to the nature of coatings having a flash time, as one person, you can only work in small sections at a time, where with two, one person can coat and the other can clear the panel off afterwards. With everything now completed, it's time for the tire shine and of course, the before and after.